Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Story Behind the Stories for the September 6th edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. I'm your host this week, Casper Wehrhahn, a photographer, writer, and archivist for the Neepawa Banner Press. And I'm joined this week by Ken Waddell. Ken, thank you so much for being here with me.
Well, it's good to be here. The schedule worked out, so it's good.
Yeah, always great to have you on here. And let's start, as always, on the front page. Though we're switching up a little bit this week because we do have a B section. We're actually going to start on the front page of the B section this week, which is a very special edition, the National Trucking Week edition of the paper, which we've actually done it for Neepawa Banner Press, and then of course the sister paper, the Rivers Banner, and the Verdant Empire Advance as well, which is now incorporated into the whole group, as some of you, if you're watching consistently, will be aware of. And so we've got that. We've got a nice picture from Diane Warner on the front page there, and some additional pictures scattered throughout the edition. But there's lots of good information in there this week, just a little bit of what Trucking Week is about. And of course, that is going on as we are recording this show. Trucking Week takes place first week September. And then, of course, we have some greetings and all that from some government officials that are relevant to the area, and some very good articles from Joel Asselstein that we're also very thankful for, just giving some details on some things that are currently going on or are relevant to the trucking industry. And Ken, you can talk a bit about this, the importance of us doing this issue each and every year.
Well, yeah, it's all you have to do is edge the nose of your vehicle out onto Highway 16, and you realize that there is a lot of trucks out there. In fact, I was out this morning on Highway 16, and my goodness, the amount of trucks that are going by. So your article is excellent too, by the way, but it does reflect a message that's in the ad from the Manitoba Trucking Association, and it's a very simple ad, shows trucks on a highway and wishes people well for National Trucking Week, but it also says, if you've got it, a truck driver brought it. It's that simple. And I don't know how many years ago it is. My wife and our two boys, they were quite young, so that's a long time ago. We were fishing along Highway 16 by the Arden Bridge, and we were watching a truck boom, 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 boom by. You hear it on the bridge above your head. And I thought, you know what? I bet you if these trucks stopped for 3 days, the grocery shelves would be getting pretty bare. And now that we live in Neepawa, right in town, and now that we live right across from the Safeway store, one of our bedroom windows looks out onto First Street, and I bet you there's 3 to 5 semis a day come into Safeway alone. Mm-hmm. Now they're delivering for Portage and Dauphin as well. I know it's a joint load, but still, I would say 3 for sure, and maybe as many as 5 loads a day coming in there to stock the shelves in Safeway. Mm-hmm. And that's just Safeway. That's not Giant Tiger, not Red Apple, not Fresh Mart, not Co-op. There's they would be one of the 5. They may be one of the bigger volumes, but nonetheless, that's just food.
Yeah,
that's just food. And so trucking industry, I have a lot of time and patience for the trucking industry because they work hard, they work long hours, and sometimes the government regulations are enough to drive you crazy. And so, no, kudos to them. Yes, we're very happy to be able to do the trucking issue. Full disclosure, we make a little money out of it too, because people buy ads because they feel the same way about the trucking industry. They want to bring some recognition to really a foundational industry for Manitoba. What is it? I think you said in your article, there's several of the big truck companies in Canada are actually headquartered in Winnipeg or in Manitoba.
Yeah, I don't have the exact figures highlighted there, but there is a number of them that are headquartered in Winnipeg, throughout Manitoba, and I know I have a percentage in there as well for like exactly, or I guess roughly how much of all these goods do get transported by truck. I think it was pretty high end, like 90 something maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I have the exact one in there, so make sure to read that and check that out. But yeah, like it is really extensive, like you alluded to. I mean, there's, aside from food, there's fuel, there's, I mean, hauling stuff that gets turned into food.
Yeah.
Cattle, sometimes, I mean, you see those trailers go by with the holes in them, and you can sometimes see pigs or cows or whatever is in there, right? Yeah, it's really extensive. There's a lot that goes on in this industry and gets moved by this industry, and it's useful for us for day to day, but also, I mean, it's parts, it's equipment. Every now and then I'll see one going by that's hauling vehicles, which is quite something to see whenever that happens. Yeah.
Well, you're just thinking too, when you're talking about freight, a lot of freight moves by train, but except for maybe oil and gas, all that stuff that's on a train has to get transferred to a truck to get somewhere else. Because very few industries have their own little rail terminal, like the oil refineries and places like that do for sure. But even then, it's got to be hauled from there to the gas stations. The trains don't deliver it directly, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, and the rail lines, I mean, this is kind of off topic, but the rail lines over the years have definitely changed quite a bit from how they were in the past too. So it's very, very different. I mean, you'd have train cars coming and stopping in Neepawa, of course, well, you know this, and stopping in Neepawa and unloading and loading there, because we had multiple grain elevators here in town. Actually, the museum here, if anyone's unfamiliar, used to be a train station. But yeah, circling back and staying relevant here, we are definitely very thankful to all the people who are in the industry and making things work and getting things where they need to be. We should circle around to the front page of the A section. I know we have a lot to go over this week. We do have an update on the front page for you with the Harris Pharmacy building, a new update on the new building. So we have a little bit of a picture there with some signage going up on the front of the building there, the Pharma Choice sign for the Harris Pharmacy building. And got some comments from Heather Todoruk there. And it sounds like the planned opening is set for September 23rd. So that's happening just a little bit later this month, which is pretty exciting. I mean, I know it's been a long-term project, but at the same time, maybe it's because outside looking in, it really kind of feels like no time at all almost too.
Well, the other day, I'll tell you, if you want a job where the time flies by, get in the newspaper business. I was talking to a customer the other day, and I'll be having a story on them next week. But they've been in their facility, they moved out. They've been there for 5.5 years. What? Anyway, so I thought maybe 2 years. No, 3 years. No, 5.5. And yeah, this has been about a year in the making, I guess, probably longer than that in the planning. But, you know, and I guess as a newspaper, we want to promote any improvement. This is an improvement for that particular, for Harris Pharmacy. But it's also an improvement for the area, and it's by no means anyway you know, casting any shadows on other pharmacies, because we have several pharmacies in the coverage area. And I know that the worst thing that can happen to an area or a town is to have fewer stores instead of more. So it's great to have a new store to add some strength to the community.
Definitely, yeah. And I know that the old building is planned to get sold after the Harris Pharmacy staff have moved into the new one and gotten everything settled. So I'm a little curious as well who that will go to and what might move in there, what sort of new industry or whatever it is we might be, or it might be, we'll get.
I gather you haven't been told yet.
No.
Neither have I.
Soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's not quite up for sale yet, but it'll be exciting to find out. And I'm also really excited to take a peek into the new facility once we get the chance to. I know there's a lot of work going on there inside and outside still. I think when I was there taking the photo on the morning of the paper, they had some sort of like little wood wall or frame set up, and I think they were working on the stairs and ramp, but didn't have time to confirm. So I'm thinking that's what they were doing, because I know they were planning on doing that, but it was kind of neat just seeing that set up there and getting a little peek at what they were working on that morning as we were putting the paper to print. Anything else you'd like to add, Ken?
Well, there was a little bit of trivia that Heather gave me, the owner of Harris Pharmacy. She said she didn't want to commit at the time to when they would be out of the building, and now obviously they're committed to when they're going to be in the building because they've set a date. But she said there were so many things that had to be looked after, including inspection by the Pharmacy Association. The Pharmacy Association has to inspect the new building, but she said, and this I thought was a little strange, she was kind of chuckling, she says they have to inspect the old building too to make sure we didn't leave a bottle of pills laying around somewhere.
Okay.
I think when they move out of there, they want everything out, like every pill, every bottle, every package. Nothing's to be left behind that could possibly fall into, someone might use it incorrectly or something,
right.
or whatever, So a lot of caution there, which is good. That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I can. So for this next story, I guess a little more caution was needed, Ken. Thank you so much for leading up to that for me.
Yeah.
Page 2 here, we had a little bit of a interesting, I guess, situation happen in the town of Neepawa on August 29th, or I should say the evening of August 29th, sometime before 9:40 approximately, because shortly after that is when the town of Neepawa got some calls in regards to the incident that we're going to go into details here about in a second. But it seems that a vehicle hopped the curb at 3rd Avenue and Ellen Street in town. And, well, there was a little bit of an obstacle there. If you're unfamiliar, there is a fire hydrant on that corner.
Well, there was a fire hydrant.
Was, yes, you're correct. I should say was.
Well, it's still there, but it's kind of a funny angle.
Yeah, a little bit askew. It hit the fire hydrant, ran it over, and, well, it's not standing anymore. It's kind of been left on its side. It's got uprooted from the hole that it was in, and yep, there it is. We have some pictures there on page 2, and I'll hold up the visual here just for a second so you can see as well. We got that picture from Owen Devereaux, and then a photo from the night of the incident by Tyrone Gulick. I apologize if I mispronounced the last name there. This does kind of, unfortunately, in a way, coincide with Trucking Week. I mean, just sort of unfortunate timing there, because it was sadly confirmed that it does appear to have been a semi that was involved in the incident with a trailer as well.
Well, it's one thing for a semi to catch the curb on a corner with the rear wheels.
Yeah.
Mine kind of bump a little bit. Okay, you see that all the time, especially tight corners where you'll see the curb has been damaged, going into a place off the highway or something. He not only took out the curb, he took it out with all wheels, like all 4 of the back wheels, or 8, whatever. There's double tracks down the boulevard. Like he didn't just jump the curb; he put the trailer right up on them. In fact, I don't know how he didn't. Maybe there's almost interesting to see where there's tracks for the front wheels. It looks like the cab went up too, but I think there's maybe enough angle there for just the back wheels. I can't imagine how they did it, and there has to be somebody, medical incident, drunk, I don't know, whatever. Something's wrong, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique incident for the town, and hopefully not one that's going to be too expensive. they're hoping it'll be low end, maybe like $2,000.
Could be 20,000 these days.
But yeah, high end it could be 20,000 or more potentially, depending on what all they need to replace. And of course, with this, they have to evaluate whether or not it's going to be worth trying to file for a claim to cover this. And then, of course, as well, if the driver does happen to put something forward through MPI, then perhaps MPI will be able to cover it. But it all depends on whether that gets filed or not by the driver and whatnot. So the town really right now is just looking for more information. I mean, they have some basic details, approximate time, and what kind of vehicle it was. A white Volvo. That's pretty much all they know right now with trailer. I mean, they don't have a company name. They're hoping to get something in relation to that, just so that they can reach out. Because I mean, yeah, it could be a costly fix, and yeah, they're trying to figure out just what that will mean for the town in terms of price. But of course, with something like this as well, you do have a impact to service as well, right? I mean, if an incident were to occur, while we do have other fire hydrants in the area, that does mean a little bit extra work for the crews to get to the area that doesn't have the fire hydrant like right there.
Fortunately, our next story about wheels isn't quite as damaging.
Yes.
About our senior scooters.
Very thankful for that.
They better not be running over a fire hydrant.
Fingers crossed, but no.
Yeah.
All seriousness, I'm sure they're doing fine. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to find good drivers in the trucking industry. I mean, it's a challenging industry, and yeah, but yes, we'll get into the senior scooter safety course, which Owen did the work on this, got some photos and all the details. And we had a little bit of a preview on it last week. We just did a little photo cut line there, and Owen got the details to go in for this week. So that is on page 7, A7. And that was held by Home Assistance Neepawa District, or HAND for short, on August 26th in the parking lot of the MTS building. And it had a group of people come together, seniors, with mobility scooters, and went through all the sort of, safety things that come with that, all the rules of the road, as it were, for that, and as well as maintenance too, because there is some maintenance that you have to do in relation to these vehicles. And it looks like it was really well attended, went over really well. There were some people from what was it now, Brandon Mobility, something along the lines there. Yeah, I think it was Brandon Mobility. And the RCMP as well, so lots of instruction there, and helping get those courses underway. And we have a little picture in the bottom right of that page, well, bottom right middle, I guess, that shows some of the scooters in action, putting what they learned to the test. Yeah, it looks like it was a great program, and I'm glad that they were able to hold it.
It looks like they're even having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, that's a plus.
Definitely, yes. Always good to have something fun going on in the town. And moving on over, scooching on down to the golf course here.
As Owen would say, we're going to do some sportsing now.
Yes, we are going to do some sportsing now. Over on page 9, this is another story by Owen. Always grateful for all the Owen work, or excuse me, all the work that Owen puts in. There we go. Got it that time. For the paper, both photography and writing. But this was a record winner for the Rose Bowl event, the Neepawa Golf and Country Club Rose Bowl event. And this individual has won it for the 6th year, which is pretty outstanding. That is Mark Kirkowicz. Got to put his name on that trophy for the 6th time. Kudos to him. I mean, it sounded like it was a pretty stiff competition out there, and put in the work and the hard effort, and was able to come away with that win once again.
Yeah, Mark has done a tremendous job there. He's also, I guess you would call him, chief groundskeeper at the course. I think it's pointed out in the article by Landon Cameron, the golf pro, that he he has learned the course very, very well, but he probably knows just about every blade of grass on the course because he's been working there for years and doing a fantastic job of making the course as playable and as challenging, yes, but as well kept as it is. They've come through some adversity and flooding over the years and erosion damage, but the course is usually in fantastic shape, and I think it is this year. Had some extra rain, which helps, and kudos to Mark. He's built a enviable record there. There's no question of that. It be doubtful if it is ever matched again. It's going to take 7 or 8 years to even equal it.
Yeah.
If somebody else won every year. But I don't think he's willing to give up the title quite yet, by the sounds of things. He's going to be playing for a few more years.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he'll be holding on to that for a while, I think. And once again, a great play by him and everyone else out there on the course. And up next, we actually have some play coming up of a different sort, more musical in nature, with the Scott Woods Band. Got a bit of a preview story there on upcoming performance happening in Neepawa. The Scott Woods Band has been coming to Neepawa annually, or almost annually at least, since approximately 2010, and performing here for different shows and all that. And so they are returning here once again for 2024 for the Yeehaw Tour. And that's going to be happening on September 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Roxy Theatre. It seems like a highly anticipated show from this band each and every year. I mean, Scott Woods, he's pretty renowned in the music scene. And multiple awards.
And very, very good. Yeah.
Yes. And if I remember correctly, he's also known as the Flippin' Fiddler because he does like backflips and all that sort of stuff. And he I guess has a trick fiddling routine, which is pretty interesting actually to hear about. So he's got, of course, himself and some familiar faces returning with him this year, as well as some new ones. So that should be exciting for people to check out. Something that was also interesting, Ken, and I had never heard of this, but the Yeehaw Tour is actually drawing inspiration from an old TV show called Hee Haw. Had you ever heard of it yourself?
Well, now that you mentioned, I had heard of the Hee Haw show, yeah.
Okay.
But it goes back to my childhood, I think. It's a long, long time ago, I think. Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't caught the connection yet, no. Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, that was sort of interesting to hear them talk about. So they won't be trying to emulate this show by any means, but there'll definitely be some inspirations drawn from it. So that should be interesting for people who are perhaps familiar with it, and maybe add something extra for people who aren't. So that'll be definitely a unique show to catch this year if you are able to.
Tickets are at the Banner.
Yes, absolutely. We got tickets here.
Unfortunately, cash only, they say. Okay.
Right, we've still got time, so we are going to talk about something further down the road. Actually, St. Rose. Very happy to have some some news from St. Rose in this week's paper. Actually, a page, I guess you could call it, for St. Rose, because we do have a different story on there as well to really just fill things out with St. Rose news. But this story that I'm going to be talking about is actually the winner of a photo contest, and this was actually something new for me to learn about and read about. But I guess there's a agricultural company called, and I apologize if I mispronounced it, I'm just going to say it as it looks, Lolland Inc.
I think that's correct, yeah.
Okay, right. And I guess they've been doing a contest called the Hometown Roots Contest for a number of years now. I think since 2022. I know I have it somewhere in the article, but it's not highlighted. And this year, for 2024, it has evolved to a photo contest. So that brings us to the topic of the story here. A St. Rose area farmer has won the photo contest. And, it's kind of a big deal in a number of ways. I mean, he won the contest. That's big deal number one. But also it's held in select locations in Canada and the US, because it's a Canadian-based company, but they have areas in the US as well. And so this individual, Shelley Brunel, was one of 3 people in Canada to be declared a winner in this contest. That's a pretty big deal. That's pretty outstanding. And as part of the, or I guess as the winnings for this contest, there's a sweet little extra twist to this, because the winning is $5,000. However, it is a $5,000 donation to a special project in your community, a local organization or local project, and that's going to go to something that's both close to the community, but also close to our family as well. There is a basketball court project within St. Rose that has been being worked on, and these donations, or this donation that Brunel has secured through her win with the photo, which is on the page as well, the photo we have on the right side of the page beside the story, is going to be going to that project. So there's going to be some finishing touches added to that project, and to help make the basketball court safer for a longer period of time, because they're going to add some lighting to that, so it can be used further into the evening. So that's pretty outstanding, and congratulations to Shelley for winning.
It is a big deal. It's a cool photo. You have to look at it 2 or 3 times to realize what it is, but it's a picture of a youngster looking out the window of a car, but reflected in the rear view mirror, and then beyond that is a big piece of, I think, an air seeder behind it. It's interesting. It's not your typical farm scene, with a combine in the distance or something. She's put some thought into how to make this work, and it's very eye-catching. And then good for them, a tremendous boost there. Mind you, they're looking to raise $100,000 to finish this basketball court, but $5,000 is not a small donation, that's for sure. And so congratulations to her, and thank you to Lallemand Inc. for supporting rural Manitoba.
Definitely, yeah. It was very exciting to get this news. And actually, a little bit behind the scene here, this actually came in the morning of the paper, like finishing it off and getting it to print. So Wednesday morning this week, that came in. We got the press release, and it's like, okay, we need to get this in the paper. Yeah, we could run it as it is, but if we can, we like to do a little bit of a rewrite on it, just to make it, just a little bit extra like a story, instead of, well, for lack of better phrasing, I guess, more of a PR piece in a way. But yeah, definitely very happy to get that, finish that up right away with help from the press release there, and got that in the paper. So very happy to be able to share that with you this week, right after the announcement was made. We are starting to get short on time here, but there was a lot more within the paper. Ken, is there anything you want to shout out before we have to wrap up?
I think we're pretty near the wrap-up time, and please pick up the paper, and thank you for reading it. It's much appreciated. It's 24 pages today with the trucking issue in there, so we're grateful for that.
Definitely, and as Ken mentioned, pick up a hard copy of the paper if you can. We do have a full page in the A section showing exactly where you can pick up the paper, some of the areas there that you can find it at. We, of course, would love to hear from you. If you have any news stories, tips, photos, letters to the editor, thumbs up, thumbs down, you can send those to us at news@neepawabanner.com, or you can give us a call at 204-476-3401. And of course, we're happy to hear from you for ads as well, because we are a free paper. If you'd like to reach out to us for advertising, do reach out to us at ads@neepawabanner.com, or give a call to the aforementioned phone number. Once again, thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Story Behind the Story. And Ken, thank you again for being here with me today.
I enjoy doing it, and you do a good job of bossing me around.
Well, thanks again, and thank you again for joining us, and have a great week.